Buenas and half a day to our listeners on Guam and in the CNMI. It's now time for Total Health right here on Joy FM Radio, where your questions get answered by health professionals. If you have any health-related questions, we would love to hear from you. Call your questions and comments in at 472-1111 or text or WhatsApp 686-9999. If you're in the CNMI, please call 323-1113. Welcome everybody to Total Health.
Hi and welcome to Total Health. My name is Rose Trina. And in the studio today, we have Elena Taneva, nurse practitioner, and Alison Chong, also a nurse practitioner. And our title for today is actually From the Womb to the Tomb, right?
Yeah, I know we have this interesting title, but there is, some meaning into it. It's about nutrition and how we can utilize good nutrition from our mother's womb until, we are still here on earth. It's like how we need to actually live healthy, eat healthy for all our life. Thank you, Rostrina. We are here back again in Joy FM. We are very delighted that we have our show again, and we have not anybody else but Alison Chong, our nurse practitioner for many years at the SDA clinic. That unfortunately this is her farewell show because she is living off island with her family. But I said, no, we need to have another session because we would need to talk about nutrition, especially, in pregnant women, for children, infants. We rarely talk about this topic, and it is so important that, Alison, we would like really to hear all about your wisdom that you have accumulated being a nurse practitioner, working for a health institution in California and an SDA clinic, and also being a mom of two beautiful children. I know it's not very easy nowadays to give the right foods, to your children, but I'm sure that you have started them on that path since you have been pregnant. Is that right?
Yes, thank you, Elena. It's a privilege to be back here in Joy FM, and it is bittersweet. I have really enjoyed our times together here on Total Health, and I was so happy that you let me have one more opportunity to share this exciting topic that's kind of been ruminating in my head these past months and years since becoming a mom, because it's so important and it really can change the trajectory of our children's lives. And so today we'll be talking about nutrition in pregnancy, as a newborn infant, and also in early childhood. So I'm so excited to have this opportunity to share today with you.
Me too, and I hope our guests are also going to take the advantage and, call us live or send their questions via Facebook, or they can call as well. But I would like to know everything, even though I'm a medical profession. I believe every mother would like to know how they can take care of their babies and themselves. Okay, so being a pregnant person, we always say you have to eat healthy, but I'm not sure if every mother knows how to eat healthy. And then it comes all those cravings that the mother has during pregnancy. And I believe it's very, very difficult really to know what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat. Should you follow your gut or your heart? What do you do during pregnancy?
Yes, that is a great question, because pregnancy and nutrition is so important. I got this quote from ACOG, which is the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology, and they said, eating well is one of the best things you can do during pregnancy. Good nutrition helps you handle the extra demands on your body as your pregnancy progresses. The goal is to balance getting enough nutrients to support the growth of your fetus and maintaining a healthy weight. And this starts even pre-conception. So I encourage women of childbearing age, even who are trying to conceive because infertility rates are going up, that it's very important to start adopting a healthy diet and lifestyle. Exercise, get to a healthy weight if you're not yet, and maintaining that weight, because you want to have a healthy lifestyle when you are trying to conceive, because oftentimes women don't even know they're pregnant until maybe 4 to 6 weeks after conception, when the neural tube has already started developing. So it's very important for anyone who's trying to conceive to already start a healthy, whole food, nutrient-dense, plant-based diet.
Yeah, I would like to mention it's not only for women. If you
Yes.
want to have children, also men have something to do with that.
Yes.
Because the baby is, part from the father, part from the mother. And it's not only the
Yes.
mother that we have to put the emphasis only on the
Yes.
health, also the father plays role into that. So how do we
Absolutely.
stay healthy pre-conceiving or during pregnancy, Alison?
So, like I mentioned, whole food plant-based diet is really key. You've heard this saying in pregnancy that you can eat for two. Have you heard that before?
Right.
People told me that too when I was pregnant, and they said, "Oh, you're pregnant. That's great. You can eat for two, and you can eat whatever you want." Someone told me when I was pregnant, I craved French fries, and every time I passed a fast food restaurant, I would get French fries. And I was like, well, I always cringe when people say eat for two, because that's not exactly how we should eat when we are pregnant.
Is it for 1.5 or?
I liked what the another quote from ACOG and the Mayo Clinic said about that instead of thinking about eating for two, you want to think of eating twice as healthy when you are pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Twice as healthy. In the first trimester, that's the first 12 weeks, you actually don't even need to eat any extra calories.
The first 12 weeks.
The first 12 weeks. And weight gain is very minimal during that time. Some gain 1 pound, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, because the fetus, the zygote, is so small during that time. And that's actually the time that you're probably most nauseous, as I've experienced and others in that time. So don't stress about gaining weight, especially early on. Emphasize more the nutrient-dense foods, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, our legumes, nuts, and seeds. Those are the foods that you should be focusing on all throughout pregnancy, but especially that first 12 weeks when you may not feel like eating well because you're nauseous, you're tired. And then as the pregnancy progresses, when you start getting into the second and third trimester, you can start to increase your calorie count by about 300 to 400 calories, 300 more during the second trimester, 400 more during the third trimester. But really, that's not that much more calories. 300, maybe half a sandwich or a glass of soy milk can easily equal 300 to 400 calories. So you're not eating for two when you're pregnant. You want to think of eating twice as healthy when you're pregnant.
I love that. So, basically, if we decide that average a woman can take 1,200, 400, 500, if we add 300, 400 calories, the diet should not be more than 2,000 calories. Would you say that?
Around there, 2,000, 2,500. You want to watch really your weight gain during pregnancy. That's the biggest thing. And the weight gain depends on your pre-pregnancy weight and what your BMI is. If you're overweight, you won't want to gain as much weight during your pregnancy. If you're underweight, you can gain a little bit more. And if you're within the normal BMI weight, which is 18.5 to 24.9, you want to aim for about a 25 to 35 pound weight gain. So that's where you want to keep on track as you're going throughout your pregnancy. Most of that weight gain is going to go towards the second and third trimester. It's going to plateau towards the end of your pregnancy, but 25 to 35 pounds. You don't want to gain more than that or less than that if you're within the normal BMI.
I'm actually going to ask you a very hard question. Okay, what about if I'm pregnant and I'm having an increase of my weight? Do I starve because I need to keep the weight off, or what do I do?
You never want to starve yourself. You want to provide adequate nutrition for your baby and your fetus. And that's why it's important to monitor weekly or every 2 to 3 weeks. You should be going to your prenatal visits during this time, and the OBGYN or women's health nurse practitioner will be monitoring your weight so that we shouldn't see rapid rise in your weight. That can signal something else, water weight or some other problem. So we should see a steady weight increase of about a pound a week. Half a pound to a pound a week during your second and third trimester is what's called a healthy weight gain. And if you do start seeing your weight go up, some weeks, you're going to speed up a little. Some weeks, you're going to slow down. Don't stress about it. Just encourage to eat healthy and continue your exercise during pregnancy. Walking is a great form of exercise during pregnancy.
Right. So I still continue exercising because, I mean, if I start increasing my weight more and more rapidly, exercise should be a part of my daily routine.
Yes, absolutely. I jogged throughout most of my pregnancy. That's because I was jogging before my pregnancy. So that's very important. If you are already fit before pregnancy and rocking and jogging, you should continue that throughout your pregnancy. If you are not jogging, 5K before being pregnant, don't start jogging for a 5K during pregnancy. But if you have been jogging a 5K, you can try to maintain that during the middle part of your pregnancy, maybe tailoring off towards the end. But stay active. That's the best thing you can do to maintain a healthy weight for you, for your fetus, and also to help with all that back pain that comes and pelvic pain that comes with pregnancy. I had terrible back and pelvic pain towards the end of my pregnancy, but exercise was the one thing that can really help alleviate that. So it was great.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing some of your experiences personally. But what do we do with those cravings, Alison?
Yes, so those cravings are real and you do have them, but you don't always have to satisfy them with the unhealthy cravings that you have. Have healthy protein fiber-filled snacks on hand, and that will help to curb the cravings. Things like carrot sticks and hummus, whole wheat toast and peanut butter. Those healthy fats and those healthy carbohydrates and proteins will help to carb those cravings so you don't crave, the ice cream and the with fried pickles and French fries every night.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. I believe we learned something about it, but now it's very difficult to implement it. It will require some discipline on our side, correct?
Yes. And the best thing, is don't buy it. If you don't have it in your fridge, you're not going to eat it. So when you do go to the store, try to pick the healthy options and think about the baby that's growing inside of you, that you want to give that baby the best health when the baby comes out. And as you think about that, that will help maybe change some of your food choices. It's not just you're thinking about. That's what helped me as well. I'm not just eating for myself to be healthy. I want to be healthy for my baby's health. And that changes your perspective on the things that you put inside your mouth when you're pregnant.
Alison, are there any contraindicated foods for pregnant women?
That's a very good question. There's more research about mercury and fish, and that is something that you do not want to eat during pregnancy. Also, unpasteurized foods, you do not want to eat during pregnancy. Anything.
You mean milk, like
yes,
cow milk? That's not
unpasteurized milk, like raw milk, or even the deli meats. You just want to stay away from that. Pregnant or not pregnant, you want to really aim for the whole foods, plants and vegetables, and legumes, nuts, and seeds that we've been talking about.
All right, we'll continue more about pregnancy and we will actually move to infant nutrition right after the break.
So that's the music, and we'll go ahead and go to break. If you have a question, you can go ahead and call it in. Call us at 671-472-1111. That's 671-472-1111 if you're calling on Guam. In the CNMI, you can call us at 670-323-1113. That's 670-323-1113. You can also send us a message via text, via WhatsApp, or Signal at 671-686-9999. That's 671-686-9999. It's free from the CNMI. Don't go anywhere. Total Health Live is going to take a break, and we'll be right back after this short break.
When you're going.
Si Joe Moasi, and thanks for listening to Total Health on Joy FM. We want to hear from you. Call in with your health-related questions at 472-1111 in Guam or in the CNMI. The number to call is 323-1113. Text or WhatsApp us at 686-9999. And now, back to the show.
Hi, and welcome back to Total Health Live. Right before the show, right before the break, we were actually talking about foods that you shouldn't eat while you're pregnant. And I believe you wanted to segue into infant nutrition, right?
Right. But I also want to, step back a little bit talking about weight, because many women do very, very good during pregnancy. Of course, we want the child to be very healthy. We can even, do twice as many salads as we have eaten before and avoid certain fried foods during pregnancy. But for some reason, it just becomes very difficult for a woman, hormonally, just after the delivery of the baby. The postpartum nutrition, the postpartum weight is very difficult, to manage. Do you have any tips for mothers just right after the delivery?
Yes. So with postpartum weight gain, the biggest tip I have is that it's the weight gain that you gain during pregnancy that's actually the most difficult to the extra weight that you gain during pregnancy that is the most difficult to lose postpartum. So it's very important, like what we were talking about earlier, to not gain too much weight during pregnancy, to stay within that 25 to 35 pound weight gain during your whole pregnancy. That's for a single fetus. If you are within the normal BMI. And if you are overweight, you actually want to gain less weight than that, maybe 15 to 20 pounds even if you're overweight. So the best tip, and I actually asked my sister-in-law, Kaya, who is a registered dietitian, she said for the mom, it really has to do with weight gain status and progress during pregnancy, whether or not you're lactating postpartum. But the bottom line is eating nutrient-dense, whole unprocessed foods as much as possible. And not to gain too much weight during pregnancy because it will be harder to come off postpartum. And also thinking about weight loss postpartum, many women struggle and think that after you give birth, the weight's just magically all going to come off. Those 35 pounds that you gained over 9 months is magically going to come off when the baby comes out. But the baby is not 35 pounds when the baby comes out. The baby's about 5, maybe to 10 pounds when the baby comes out. So you still have a lot of weight on after pregnancy. You're swollen. It's going to take some time, and be patient with yourself. But if you continue that healthy lifestyle and your exercise every day, that weight will come off in a healthy way. And when I say in a healthy way, over months. It took 9 months to put that weight on. It may take 9 months to get you back to that pre-pregnancy weight, but it will come off with a healthy lifestyle, eating healthy and exercise. Slowly, that weight will come off.
Well, before I forget, Alison, how important are the prenatal vitamins? I know they're important before that for the formation of the neurotube of the baby, but do they really have the pregnant women take it? Because they are still pills. Do they have to take pills?
Yes, we do recommend prenatal vitamins, even for those who are wanting to conceive. Like I mentioned earlier, most women do not know that they are pregnant till 4 to 6 weeks after, when that neurotube is already forming, and that neural tube forms into our brain and spinal cord. So it's very important that women get enough folic acid right at the beginning, B12, B vitamins, iron, calcium. These are essential for the building blocks of that nervous system of the baby that's barely forming in the womb right at conception.
But if we eat very healthy, do we need to take them, or you kind of recommend that because we never know how much of the healthy we're going to eat and if we are getting the nutrients on a daily basis?
So you could talk to your OBGYN about that, but most of the time we do recommend prenatal vitamins because that first trimester you're often nauseous as well and not eating as well. And so they just help to cover and bridge that gap when we are not eating as well because of the nausea, because of the fatigue and different things like that.
Have you noticed that some foods make you more nauseous and less nauseous?
Yes, and it depends on the person. So each woman has different things that trigger them. Different smells that trigger them. I know for one friend it was garlic, and she couldn't stand garlic during her pregnancy, but she usually loves garlic. She's Asian, and so all foods in Asia have garlic and onion as their base. And I remember I was just highly sensitive to different things. I can't pinpoint one thing, but different smells. I would always be like, it smells so bad in here. And my husband would be like, I don't smell anything. But just different smells. I was just heightened to smells, and some things could trigger nausea. So it just depends on the person.
Well, right. So let's assume that we are eating healthy during pregnancy. Do we continue to eat twice as healthy or 3 times as healthy when we start breastfeeding?
Yes, so you want to continue eating healthy during breastfeeding as well. As we transition into newborn and infant nutrition, I do want to mention that the best nutrition for newborn babies is breast milk. And we hear a lot about that and how breastfeeding is so important for the baby, but I know it can be challenging. I struggled as well with my firstborn with breastfeeding, and what was interesting is that I saw some statistics that because of all the research about how good breastfeeding is now, how it has all the immunoglobulins and really helps the baby, most women do try to start breastfeeding, and 84% do start breastfeeding when the baby is born, but by 3 months that rate drops to 47 as a national average, and by 6 months only 25% of mothers are continuing to breastfeed. So you can see those rates drop significantly as time progresses. And I just want to encourage moms out there, if you're struggling to get help, there are resources available. Lactation specialists at SAGWA. There's La Leche League online on Facebook. That's a real group that meets monthly. And so get the help you need. It is difficult, and I did struggle myself, but get the help you need so that baby can get the best nutrition possible, which is mother's milk.
Would you recommend that the baby should not be weaned for as long as the baby wants the milk, the mother's milk? Some mothers struggle with that even 2-3 years later.
Yes, so that depends on the mother, and even certain different cultures that the babies and young children do breastfeed longer. Breastfeeding is great if you're able to keep it up. Most recommendations are at least exclusive breastfeed for 6 months and up to 2 years old with complementary foods is generally what we recommend and see. But if you can keep it going even longer than that, more power to you.
That's amazing. So are there any foods that we should consider to avoid during breastfeeding? Or I know plant-based diet, it will be great during breastfeeding, but many women, as you said, are struggling to get the milk in good quantity. Anything that we can encourage, any foods that we can recommend that can probably stimulate the breast milk in the long term?
Yes, I struggled with producing enough milk with my firstborn, and I actually had to start supplementing her with some formula for a few weeks, and I really was sad about that. But I want to encourage moms that even though breastfed is better, fed is best. And don't be afraid if you need to give formula because the baby's not gaining weight. You need to feed the baby is the bottom line. And many women struggle with that. But I didn't stop breastfeeding at the same time. So I want to put that concept in your mind that you can breastfeed as well as supplement with formula for a time and then go back to breastfeeding and see how the baby does and work closely with your pediatrician on this. But yes, I was researching all the foods I can eat called galactagogue foods so that I can make more milk. And there's so many things out there, but things I kept coming across are oats is a good one. So I ate a lot of oatmeal, baked oatmeal, blended oats in my smoothies. Also, brewer's yeast is another big galactagogue where you brewer's yeast, not nutritional yeast, but brewer's yeast can also help you produce more milk. Malunggay or moringa is also a great one for helping you produce milk. And also making sure you're drinking enough water. You want to be drinking 12 cups a day when you're lactating because that is, breast milk is made a lot from water as well. So drink a lot of water, eat healthy, and get the help you need so that you can continue breastfeeding up to 1 to 2 years old.
Would you recommend that those foods will be cooked or they would be juiced or eaten fresh? Oh.
So with oats, we cook oatmeal generally. I don't really know that changes, the composition of the food that makes you make more or less milk. Brewer's yeast is just this yeast that you sprinkle on smoothies, or you can bake into muffins or things like that. And then, of course, moringa, you generally cook that in soups. However you normally prepare the food, just as long as you're ingesting it, that would be the best.
Alison, I don't think you would mind, but I kind of want to ask you to more personalize our talk. So tell us about, like, when you were pregnant, when you wake up, what type of foods you would eat, and when you were breastfeeding, what type of foods you would eat, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I know it's very difficult to recollect what you have been eating, but I'm sure that you kind of had some routine into your nutrition during that time.
Yes, so that's a good question. And I was eating healthy already prior to pregnancy, so I just tried to continue that throughout, and also throughout breastfeeding. I do try to eat more complex carbohydrates, or more of those galactagogue foods, when I was breastfeeding. Things like oatmeal. For lunch, maybe sweet potato and black bean chili and brown rice. For dinner, maybe a hummus sandwich or chickpea sandwich and salad. Those are kind of the things that I would eat and enjoy eating. Same things that I ate prior to pregnancy as well. But I would try to at least focus on getting a good protein source and a good whole grain carbohydrate source, especially when pregnant or breastfeeding.
Well, how important is that nutrition? What about if I eat junk food through the whole pregnancy and, during the breastfeeding time? If I am like someone that I was brought up with junk food and I love that, would that have any consequences for the baby growing?
Yes, so if you eat junk food, the baby will not be able to get the nutrients it needs, and it can be more at risk for certain chronic conditions that we see in adults as well. The baby can be overweight, called macrosomia, and have more risk for diabetes, high blood pressure, things like that when the baby is born, obesity in childhood as well. So you want to really try to adopt a healthy lifestyle even before pregnancy, and especially during pregnancy, because it's not just your health that it's affecting the health of your child.
And if you already have a high blood pressure or diabetes, it is very important to follow with your physician and to make things under control for the sake of baby's health. Thank you, Alison. We'll continue with infant nutrition after the break.
And we're going to go ahead and go to the break now. We're only halfway through, so don't go anywhere. Also, if you have a question and you want to call it in, on Guam, you can call us at 671-472-1111. That's 671-472-1111. In the CNMI, you can call us at 670-323-1113. That's 670-323-1113. You can also send us a message for free via text, via WhatsApp, or Signal at 671-686-9999. That's 671-686-9999. It's free from the CNMI. Again, don't go anywhere. We're only halfway through today's show. We'll see you after the break.
It's gotta be here somewhere.
I hope so. We've been looking forever. What was that?
I don't know. Don't move.
It's getting closer. What do we do?
Mittens, how did you get in here?
That's it, Mom. Next time, you get Grandma's marmalade from the back of the pantry.
Sometimes when life seems scary, we're really just blowing things out of proportion. God wants us to be strong and courageous, not letting our thoughts run amok. No offense, Mittens. Just a little something to chew on from Joy FM.
Welcome back. You're listening to Total Health on Joy FM. Call in with your health-related questions to 472-1111 in Guam. If you live in the CNMI, we want to hear from you too. Call 323-1113. or text or WhatsApp us at 686-9999. And now, here's more Total Health.
Hi, if you're just tuning in, welcome to Total Health Live. For today's show, we're actually talking about pregnancy, infant nutrition, and child nutrition, and we have Elena Taneva, nurse practitioner, and Alison Chong, nurse practitioner. Go ahead, Elena.
Sure. We'll continue more on breastfeeding and some, anything that Alison can share with us. Alison, go on with your healthy tips.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit more about how amazing breast milk is, because breast milk has so many benefits, and it's like a live fluid that adapts to the baby's needs. It's so amazing, the studies that are coming out that show that breast milk actually changes throughout the day. And I didn't know that when I started breastfeeding, but the more I researched about breast milk and all that it contains, it just blew my mind. And it's amazing how God created the perfect nutrition for babies found in mama's milk. And so human milk contains macronutrients, micronutrients, active biological components, immunoglobulins, hormone, growth factor, even stem cells and prebiotics and probiotics.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that human breast milk contains all of those things. And what was even more amazing is that breast milk can actually change during the day to help establish newborn circadian rhythm. And if you talk to any newborn mom, we oftentimes have big bags under our eyes with dark circles because we're up all night, because baby is up all night, feeding every 2 hours or thinking that the day is night and the night is day. But breastfeeding can actually help with that, because the mom's milk that's produced in the morning actually has more cortisol that keeps the baby awake. And during the evening hours, the mom's breast milk contains more melatonin that helps the baby sleep. And when I found that out, when I was researching that, and when I heard that, I was just blown away. This is amazing that the breast milk actually changes in a dynamic way to match circadian patterns and rhythms. And even when the mom is sick, the antibodies the mom produces, the baby gets when breastfeeding, so that the baby doesn't get sick. And I experienced that as well when I was sick and breastfeeding. I was so worried. I actually got COVID when I was breastfeeding. But the baby, I continued to breastfeed, and the baby was fine. There was maybe a few hours that I felt like she was warm. She was around 5 months, but I continued to breastfeed, and the baby did fine. And all throughout breastfeeding, my baby hardly ever got sick, and it was just amazing. This immunoglobulins, all the immune cells that are in breast milk that the baby gets every time they feed off of mama's milk.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's like so amazing. And also, I know that the microbiome of the baby, which is so important for the immune system, it's very important, and it's really, it matters if the baby had been born vaginally or not, and also the breast milk certainly contributes to that. A child gets the microbiome, like the one that they will stay for the rest of their life within the first days up to like 3 years, and it continues, but this age is quite crucial. So I understand why it's so important to continue with breast milk.
Yes, there are so many benefits to breastfeeding. They've found that babies who are breastfed get less ear infections, less respiratory infections, less asthma, less type 1 diabetes, less GI infections. The list goes on. And there's actually benefits to the mom as well. They found that mothers who breastfeed has less risk of ovarian cancer, type 2 diabetes, even high blood pressure when you breastfeed. And breastfeeding also helps with that weight gain postpartum. You're expending 200, 300 calories when you breastfeed. And so that helps also the weight gain postpartum to come off very nicely when you're breastfeeding. So that's another additional benefit to breastfeeding. It's so great to breastfeed.
Some mothers actually have quite a lot of breast milk. What do they do with that?
Yes, so some mothers pump breast milk, and some mothers produce an extra amount and they freeze it and save it for later when they have to go back to work. Or if there's an abundance of supply, they can actually donate breast milk, and there are breast milk donors. And so for those mamas who are struggling to breastfeed and want to give baby, breast milk, look for those breast milk donors who are willing to give some of their milk to help feed your baby breast milk as well.
Wow, that's so wonderful. It is so nice to be able to be giving, right?
Yes.
And you can do many amazing things for the community, even that, by staying healthy for yourself and your children and others. So breastfeeding is great, but at some point you can't stay only on milk.
That's right. That's right. So, WHO, CDC, they all recommend at least for 6 months to exclusively breastfeed. So for 6 months, the infant should be getting absolutely no solids. Some say 4 to 6 months, but by around 6 months, they should have the developmental ability to start taking solid foods. And so the baby should be ready. And the readiness comes with good head control, being able to bring food up to your mouth, being able to grasp small objects, babies who show an interest in feeding. So you want to really adapt it to the baby's time frame. It's not just, okay, it's 6 months, now is the time you can start eating. When the baby is ready, when the baby shows interest, which is around 6 months, that's when you should start introducing solid foods alongside with breast milk. So at 6 months to 1 year, breast milk is still the primary source of nutrition for these babies. The food that they're starting to eat is really just to help them learn the skill of swallowing, of chewing, of bringing food to their mouth, but it's not really fueling their source of nutrition. It's still the breast milk or the formula that they are on.
Wow. So they continue. Slowly we start introducing different foods. Any preferable foods that you will say, like, what should be the first food that a human being should taste after mother's milk?
So they're not exactly one single food that they say babies should eat. And with different cultures, this varies. In the U.S., they started to package pureed foods or rice cereals that are best for babies. But now they're finding single foods, start with one single food and slowly introduce the next food in 3 to 5 days, soft, pureed foods, and the baby should do fine. There's not one food that you should absolutely start with and stick with. You can start with pureed rice, or you can start with a banana, whatever you want to start with. Just start with one food and just serve it one time a day, maybe a spoon or two full. It's really not much. It's really just to get them the skill of eating and swallowing, and then slowly introduce the next food in 3 to 5 days so that you can find out if the baby has any allergies or intolerance to the food.
Yeah, but I believe some foods we can't introduce them right away.
Yes. So there are foods, of course, nothing hard or sticky or fried or things like that you want to introduce to your foods. Definitely there are some guidelines. Under 1, you don't want them to have any honey. You don't want them to have, any major salt, sugar, fat. You want to stick with the whole foods, like what we were saying, and pureed, steamed foods and puree it so that the baby can easily swallow it as well.
Did you prepare those purees yourself, or were you more inclined to buy them from the supermarket?
Yeah, so it's actually better if you can prepare it yourself. The nutrients that come from the prepared food yourself is much higher than those that are prepackaged in the stores that have been sitting on the shelves for who knows how long. So definitely it's so easy to, steam your own sweet potato and mash it up for your baby. Mash up your banana for your baby. Blenderize your peas for your baby. And it's so fun to see babies starting to eat. It's just such a joy to see them smile with that first taste of banana or pea or oatmeal blended up, whatever it is. You can start with those whole foods blended up and steamed at home. You can prepare it yourself.
But it needs to be also delightful, right? Does it need to taste good for the babies, or you just like shove all that food because it's good for them?
So you don't want to shove food. The babies are just, like I said, under 1 year. It's not the primary source of nutrition. The milk is still the primary source of nutrition. So it's just very simple foods without added salt or sugar. They don't need to have any of those additives until they're closer to 2 years old. but it should be the whole food, unprocessed, and just 1 or 2 spoonfuls to start off with is plenty for them.
So, Alison, when we're talking about whole food, you're talking about plant-based
Yes.
food. Like, it's not like, oh, I will recommend some meat introduction, at that age, because, we're talking about the need of having a protein, and you basically can have protein from plants.
Yes, you can. So what I did, I was plant-based for all my pregnancy and my babies. We would do lentils, blend that up, and it's just plain lentils. You just cook the lentils plain with water, boil it, and then blend it up and just serve a few spoonfuls to your baby. Or brown rice, blend it up without anything added to it. Peas is a great one, sweet potato, banana, even apples. You cook the apples first, then you blend it up. But you don't want to add anything to it. You just want it in the natural state, but steamed or cooked and blended so that the baby can easily swallow it.
So not even spicing with some salt or some coconut oil, or I don't know.
I did not. Once they get closer to 1, you can start to introduce maybe a little bit of salt. Underneath 1, you can add some spices, but I would stay away from the salt and sugars and things like that. But you can introduce them to some little bit of dash of cinnamon or a little dash of thyme or a little dash of oregano. Those types of spices are perfectly healthy and fine for the babies too.
That is wonderful. In a way, I'm very grateful to my parents. We were very poor when we were growing, so we didn't have abundance of varieties of foods. But I never developed this sweet tooth. When that sweet tooth gets developed into children, I just wonder. I never developed it, and even if you offer me a chocolate, I would just not be attracted to it.
Wow, that's amazing because you rarely find that these days. But yes, the more you stick to the natural foods, the whole food, plant-based foods when the child is young, that's what they will learn to like and adapt for the rest of your life. And you're a living testimony of that. So that's awesome. That's amazing. That's the power that us mothers and fathers and aunts and uncles and grandparents can have on our children. When we choose the right foods for them, we can change, their whole life for the rest of their life, starting them healthy right from the get-go when they're young.
But once they start eating, not only we have the saying, children also have a saying, and sometimes we think something is good for them, but they don't think so.
Yes.
We'll talk about that. I really want to know how we can help those picky eaters after the break coming.
Before we go ahead and go into our break, I just want to let you both know that we had a caller call in, and she didn't have a question, but she's been listening, and she wanted to say that in her own experience, she has experienced what you've been talking about. So she has multiple kids. One of her kids, she breastfed him for a year. He's 20 now. He never gets sick, and she's really happy about that. And then she also, when she had her daughter, she produced so much breast milk that she ended up giving some of it to somebody else. So she was breastfeeding her daughter and then another child as well. And she really sees the benefits of breastfeeding children, and she just wanted to let you both know.
Oh, that's
Thank you.
fantastic.
Wonderful.
Thank you for your input. We really appreciate that. Thank you indeed.
And so we're going to go ahead and go to the break today. This is our last break of the day, so if you have a question or if you just want to call in and share a story like our last caller, thank you so much for sharing. If you want to call in on Guam, you can call us at 671-472-1111. That's 671-472-1111. In the CNMI, call us at 670-323-1113. That's 670-323-1113. You can also send us a message via text or WhatsApp or Signal at 671-686-9999. That's 671-686-9999. It's free from the CNMI. Don't go anywhere. This is our last break of the day, and we'll see you right back.
It's a really an awesome, uplifting church that prayer is not a second thing. It is the thing, and that's where my heart's at.
What do you like about your church?
We just feel like they're our family away from family, and our praise and worship is just excellent, and a great pastor that preaches the message.
A good church is going to enrich your life. Find one near you.
Just the whole environment. I mean, the people are just so accepting whether you go there every day or not.
And we're back with more Total Health. Give us a call with your medical questions. Number to call in Guam is 472-1111. If you're in the CNMI, the number to call is 323-1113. Or you can text or WhatsApp us at 686-9999. Now back to the program.
Hi, and welcome back to Total Health Live. We've only got a couple minutes left, so we'll jump right back in.
Yes, we can talk more about infant nutrition and more about how we can better ourselves and stay ourselves as parents healthy so our children can have a good example. Statistics unfortunately shows a very upsetting trend that this will be the first generation, the generation that is growing right now, that will live shorter than the parents and the grandparents. Mm-hmm. And why is that? It is because of the widespread foods that we eat. We don't always have the healthiest foods on our table. And Alison, I don't know if you have noticed, but many times when we have parties and there are kids eating, adults will eat some salads, but when you look at the table of the children, you see pizza, you see French fries, you see cakes, you see, all those unhealthy foods because they grow on this type of food. Of course, this is what makes them happy. They say, yes, that's yummy, but they become very picky eaters at some point that they would not eat anything. They will not eat vegetables unless it is, food that they absolutely adore. They, kind of almost worship. I don't know what we can do about that. Many parents struggle with that. Once they start their own food, it's very difficult to change the habits. And I know you would advise us to start preventative with good foods, healthy foods for them. What can we do? It's a pandemic, like a junk food pandemic, unhealthy food pandemic for our kids, and they grow with that. We don't have good prognosis for that. What can we do about it?
Yes, Elena, it is a very serious problem. And, as we see the rates of childhood obesity just skyrocketing, it's a big problem. And we have to address it starting from, like I said, the womb. Starting from the womb, starting from the breast milk, and starting from that first bite into toddler nutrition. So as we think of our toddlers, 1 to 3 years old, that's a time, it's a difficult time. I have a toddler right now. She's 23 months, and it's a difficult time because now they're starting to want more control, increasing their independence. They're in the no stage. So we have to change our tactics and stay consistent, lovingly and firm. And there are tips to help with picky eaters. And some of the tips that I've found, and also through my research, is we want to keep meal times fun. Many times meal times can become a battle. You have to eat this now. Before you eat that, you have to finish this. Finish whatever I put on your plate. And then after that, the parents are on their devices and the child is left to eat alone, struggling. And we really don't encourage that. It doesn't promote a healthy environment for healthy eating. So we want to keep meal times fun. Involve the child. This is a time when the child can start mixing things in the kitchen. Have them pick out a new vegetable or fruit every week that matches their favorite color. If it's red, if it's green, if it's purple, pick out a purple cauliflower. My daughter likes purple. She can start to say purple now, and she loves purple cauliflower. I think because it's purple. She likes it more than the white cauliflower. But keep it fun. Involve your child, and don't make food. Don't use food as a bribe or punishment. I think I tend to do that even. I say, eat 2 more bites of your rice and peas, and then you can have your treat or raisin. Raisins for us is her treat. But when you do that, when you make food a punishment or a reward, it heightens the excitement of that treat and lowers the pull of the wholesome food. So actually what research is saying is just put all the food out there together and let the child eat happily together with you as a family. So that's really important too, that you're eating as a family. It's not just the child left there by themselves to eat by themselves. Mealtime should be fun. It's a time to connect together as a family. So all of you should be eating, put away your devices and eat the same foods together. Eat the same healthy rice and curry together, eat the same healthy rice and chickpeas together. And that really helps because my toddler will always want to eat what I'm eating. So it's really important as a parent to lead by example. And there are times she will still pick out all the bell peppers in the fried rice that I made for her, but you want to be consistent and keep reintroducing that food because it can take 10 to 20 times before that child can adapt their taste buds to that new taste or texture because toddlers are very sensitive to different textures and tastes and even the temperature of the food. So keep trying. Don't give up. Parents, I know it's hard, but keep reintroducing that vegetable maybe in a different way. Maybe steam it, maybe bake it, maybe blend it up in a smoothie. Blending vegetables in a smoothie are an excellent way to hide those veggies and get your child to eat it. So stay consistent, stay creative, and keep it fun. I think that's so important for children.
So do you kind of advise that we can decorate the food in a way that children like it to make it more palatable or desirable? Do you do that? Do you spend time in decorating the food?
Yes. So I'm not as good of a mom to make teddy bear pancakes every day with strawberries and blueberries, but there have been some times that I do that, and my daughter just lights up. She's almost 2 years old, and she just thinks it's the funnest thing, and she will eat all the blueberries and strawberries off the pancake first and then eat that oatmeal pancake. So one of the easiest foods for toddlers is blend oatmeal, banana, and soy milk together. Add a dash of cinnamon, a dash of baking powder, and that's your pancake mix. And it's so easy, and my daughter loves it, and most all toddlers love it. It's a banana oatmeal pancake.
But do you do the pancake itself, or you just do the mix?
Pancake itself. You blend oats, you blend soy milk, you put it all in your blender, and a banana. You blend it all up, and then you put it on your pan to make a pancake.
Okay. Do you fry it with something, or?
Sometimes I do spray some avocado oil on the pan if you need to, but you don't need to. You don't need to if you have a good nonstick pan. It depends to you. But yes, those are excellent, easy, healthy breakfasts for toddlers.
Is there any healthy food that your children do not like eating?
Yes. So certain vegetables, like I said, bell peppers, she does not want to eat bell peppers. Even bean sprouts, she will pick it out of whatever is in it. But that doesn't discourage or stop me. I will keep reintroducing it. I will wait some time. But there are some vegetables that she does love, and those are the vegetables I try to emphasize. So she loves broccoli, she loves zucchini, and those are the vegetables, peas, that I will keep reintroducing again and again. And then slowly I'll put back that bell pepper or put back that other bean sprout that she tends to pick out all the time.
So you do encourage children to like all fruits and vegetables?
Yes, but be patient with them because it can take time, and focus on the things that they do like. If they do love apples and peanut butter, focus on that. Focus on the bananas. Praise them for that, and lead by example. That's the biggest advice I can give. Lead by example. You as the parent, as the aunt, the uncle, the grandma, the grandpa, make sure your plate is full of colorful fruits and vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and seeds and legumes, and then the child will follow your example as you lead them.
I know. You know that the struggle can be real at times, and when they say, no, I'm going to eat only peanut butter, and sometimes parents don't know what they can do, and they're like, okay, here, you have your peanut butter. Have you gone through that, or you kind of, made them to eat more than just one peanut butter.
Yes, there are times my toddler will not want to eat what I put in front of her, and she'll want something else. But I'll try. If she wants to eat peanut butter, then I'll put the peanut butter on the toast and have it together. So trying to pair whatever they really like with another food. But trying not to make it a battle, that's really important too, which is really hard because I've had my battles with my daughter as well over mealtime. So I empathize with you parents, and I know it's difficult, but continue to stay consistent and know that it takes time for your toddler to adopt healthy habits, and it doesn't have to be, if one meal she doesn't want to eat anything, the next meal, try to incorporate those extra foods, because toddlers' stomachs are small as well. They don't have to eat the same portion sizes that you're eating.
Yeah, how much do they have to eat?
So it depends. As they grow, they should eat more and more. But as they're younger, a cup of vegetables, a cup of fruits a day when they're 2, 3, 4 years old. And then as they get older, they can eat more fruits and vegetables.
And can we allow them to play with the food? That would be a topic on its own, right?
Yes. But as we're closing, I just want to share with you a verse, 2 verses. Psalms 127:3. It says, "Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord. The fruit of the womb is a reward." So I just want to encourage you, all you parents, grandparents caring for children. You're doing an excellent job. Know that God is there by your side to help you, to give you strength, to give you wisdom, how to feed your children, how to help them be healthy. And also this verse in Psalms 49:15 and 16, it's a verse on breastfeeding. Can a woman forget her nursing child and not have compassion on the son of her womb? Surely they may forget. As crazy as that sounds, some mothers do forget their nursing child. But God says, I will not forget you. I have inscribed you on the palms of my hands. Your walls are continually before me. God will never forget us. We're always on his mind and his hands.
Thank you, Elena, and thank you, Alison, and thank you also to all of our listeners for tuning in. Come back again next week, Wednesday at 5 to 6 p.m. for more Total Health Live.
Be sure to check with your doctors before making any sudden life changes discussed today. Total Health is brought to you in partnership with Guam Seventh-day Adventist Clinic, where health is their mission. We look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Thank you and si Juas Masi for listening to Total Health right here on Joy FM.